It is a classic single-parent dilemma. When is the right time to introduce a new partner to your kids? A lot of advice suggests that it's best to wait until the relationship is serious. But one mummy blogger says this is nonsense because making a big deal out of introducing a partner suggests dating is shameful. She argues meeting new partners can actually teach kids social skills, manners, and how to deal with new people. Brenda, I just saw you in the corner of my eye, just shaking your head. So we're going to go with you first of all.
Of that
I mean, I've had two experiences. Obviously, when I met my ex-husband Patrick, Jamal and Tanisha were 2 and 4 years old.
Right.
So they, you know, and I was the single mum at that time, and that was the last thing I had on my mind of him meeting them on a first date, or even a second date. You know, the one thing that I did do is explain immediately, I have 2 children, because, you know, if you want me, that's the whole package. But I don't agree with introducing on the first date, because you don't know what's going to happen with this person, and then you meet them on the first date on Monday, and then it doesn't work out. You figure out they're not really the person for you. Then following Monday, there's another person that those children are meeting. And with me now, single now, with my adult kids, I wouldn't like the thought of them. Oh, right, which one are you bringing home? There's another. I could not do that with my children. I don't think they'd appreciate it either.
I suppose there's a slight difference between bringing someone home, you know, every time. But in terms of going out on dates and that sort of thing, what this blogger says is she enjoyed watching her mum getting dressed up, getting excited, feeling nice and all, and she enjoyed the joy of that, regardless as to whether anyone ended up being, you know,
I think maybe it depends on the age of the child, and seeing your parent getting ready to go out is one thing, but a succession of different people, if you're on a sort of a dating cycle, kind of coming in and out of the house, I wouldn't necessarily agree with. I mean, I don't know, it's a tricky one, because when I met Gary, his daughter was 11, my daughter was 6, and we definitely didn't... And you kind of end up having conversations you would never have before you had children, which is kind of like, well, where's this relationship going? Because we don't want to introduce our children if it's just going to be a fling, because what's the point? And particularly when you introduce children to each other, because then if the relationship breaks down and the kids have bonded, where does that leave you, you know? So it's a bit of a minefield, I think.
I think it's each to their own. Every circumstance is different. And Denise, your circumstance was different, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been single. I've always done crossovers. But with my situation, it's only ever happened once. Obviously, I was married for 24 years to the boy's dad. And we decided to separate, but we had not told. We had told the children, but we hadn't told everybody else. And I then started to see Lincoln, and Tim subsequently started to see Jo, his now wife. And of course, the press found out, and it was all a bit messy and everything. And so it was a difficult situation for me to know, because the boys asked me if they could meet Lincoln because they'd heard things. But also, Louis was 10, Matty was 22. So it was about forging 2 different relationships. And Louis, my stepson, was 18. And on the day that I was meant to be going with Lincoln to the station to meet Louis, I was rehearsing a play, Steel Magnolias, and they called me in and said that I had to go to rehearsal. So Lincoln went to the station and met 10-year-old Louis on his own. So it was kind of a baptism of fire. But, you know, it all worked out in the end. And he's been a great stepdad to the kids. And I hope Louis would say the same about me.
I think it's just each to their own, and each, especially when you get to a point where you're introducing children to each other. I think that's when you have to tread very, very carefully. You know, I didn't. Nick and I we were single when we met each other, but how long did we take? I think it was 8 months or so until I introduced him to my kids, and it was nearly 18 months or so, I think, until I met his kids. They knew he was dating someone, but we weren't ready yet to make that step because of that reason. The kids are similar sort of age, and what if they loved each other, and they, thank goodness, you know, they've met, and they do love each other. They genuinely get on. So you know, it's the kind of thing you have to know in your gut what's right for
You
you,
do.
what's right for your kids.
I mean, it's interesting listening to that blogger saying that, you know, she got excited watching her mum get ready. I think it's where you are. I mean, obviously, if you've just separated and you're straight away going out to meet somebody and the kids are still very confused by it all, that's different. But if there's been a big period of time and they see mummy being sad and suddenly being uplifted, then I understand that she's sharing it with them. And as you say, it's horses for courses, isn't it?
I think once you get to that point and, you know, and the kids are, everybody's blended and it's all, you know, going really well, the next step is obviously going from being a single parent where you are in sole charge of your children's behaviour, how they behave in the house and all this sort of stuff, to then letting someone else in and letting them parent your children.
Well, the thing for me with Patrick, everybody knows I'm very strict with the kids, and it was nice to have somebody there because he's very opposite. He was very opposite to me, very calm, very quiet, you know. And when it came to the kids, the one thing that we always said is we don't want to argue in front of the kids, and we don't want to have a disagreement about what we're doing with the kids in front of the kids, because that just sends mixed messages to them. So I was very, very grateful to have that calming person, and he, you know, he kind of showed me a few things. Oh, don't do that. Don't necessarily say that. And it's nice to have somebody else on the outside's opinion, because you just don't see it when you're in it. This is how I do it, and this is how it's.
Yeah. And how old were the kids when you met Patrick?
They were 2 and 4 when I met.
So that's
Patrick.
quite an easier age than, say, if they were in their
easier age, but I still see it as the moulding kind of age. And, you know, I had so many other things because Patrick was, he wasn't black, so I had to deal with trying to get them to understand that whole thing, that whole concept of a mixed relationship and what you might face when you're outside from other people looking at you strangely. How come 2 black kids and there's a white guy? Right. So it's, you know, there was loads of things that I had to take into consideration. But I was very, very grateful to have him there to just help me with my personality with the children. It was beneficial.
And what did you do in terms of, obviously you and Gary, did you have similar parenting styles, or did you choose a kid to discipline? Right, you do that one, you do that one.
It was actually quite easy, I think, because I think, again, it depends on your circumstance. But because both of our kids that we had when we met, they each had another parent that were a perfectly good parent. So you have to be careful not to step on that parent's toes. Yeah. Whereas if you have a child and the other parent is absent, then that's a different thing. But so we were able to sort of, you know, co-parent Grace, because obviously we had Grace together, so that's a very easy situation. And then most of the time, if Gary had a problem or a falling out with Ellie, I would sort of step in and deal with whatever needs to be dealt, and vice versa with Lauren, with Gary, because he's her dad. And I think you just sort of occupy that friend of like that position of either older sister or friend, because as I say, they've got another parent, so they don't need 3 people telling them what to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was very lucky with the fact that Tim and Lincoln have a respect for each other. And I think that's very important when it comes to step parenting, as do I and Joe. Obviously, Lewis was about 18 and Matty was 22, like I've said. So we had kind of 2 grown men, really, in a way. And then we had little Louis. So it was Louis that was living with us. So he had the most adapting to do. And Lincoln is stricter than me. And we did clash sometimes. I was always dreading the "you're not my dad." And I think in all of the years we've had that once. Obviously, the kids were grateful that we met because we both got sober together. So that brought a completely much more healthy dynamic into the kids' lives anyway. But it is difficult because we've had to learn to do it, because Lincoln sets boundaries and he sticks to them, a bit like you do, Andrea, and I'm the one that's a little bit woolly with it all the time. And I did get very territorial sometimes over Louis because we didn't have one of Lincoln's kids there. So it's almost like, that's my child. But then I had to realise when Louis turned round and said, "Mum, I need boundaries."
And it's the thing, because sometimes you're doing the good cop, bad cop thing. I mean,
it's funny because I've been a single parent as well, and there's no denying it that when you're a single parent, there are aspects of it that are a lot easier. Because if you want to do something, you just get up and you go and do it. You don't have to consult anybody or anything like that. But if you're with the right person, then having two parents is much
Definitely.
easier.
I must
Much
admit,
easier.
obviously, I'd been used to being a single parent, and I felt it actually made me feel very powerful as a single parent because finally I felt in control of my life, and I felt like I was a good parent, and I did not feel any guilt about going to work. I was putting a roof over my children's head. I was putting food on their table, and it was tricky to allow somebody else in who was going to have slightly differing views on parenting and this sort of thing. And I think that's the little bumps in the road that all new relationships have to sort of negotiate. But yeah, sometimes actually, especially if you've got a teenage boy as a single mum, it is nice to have a man in the house who can have, you know, blokey chats about things. You know, they've talked about things.
Bloggy chats.
Bloggy chats.
Soon and have a bloggy chat.
Do you know that's exactly how it sounded, Denise Wells? Exactly like that.